up, gamers? I'm Jayson.
I'm Julie, and this week on Dice and Dragons, Jayson and I are going to
take a trip through our shelf of shame, our shelf of opportunity. Depends on the day. Some days it's glass half full, sometimes it's glass half empty. Other times it's like, why do we have so many games? Then it does feel a little bit more.
Most of the time. Why do we have so
many
games?
Feels a little bit shameful. So what we've done is we've gone through the collection. Julie's picked 5 games that she really wants to get played, and these are the ones that obviously rose to the top. I picked 5 games that I really want to get played, and they are presented in no particular order. We haven't ranked them. They're just the ones that both of us really want to play.
Put it this way. There are top 5 for Julie and top 5 for Jayson.
Yes, but the first one you see on Julie's list may actually end up being her number 1 game. It might be her number 5. We don't know. We haven't gone through that much ordering. What we will do for fun is probably a couple of days after this video has come out, we will be, let's do it the day of. We're going to have a Twitter poll out there as well as a poll on Facebook. So go ahead and vote on the game that you want to see us play from this list. Now, we do have some commitments that we need to cover. We are wrapping up some campaign games. We have one that's in the table, but we do promise that the one that is selected by the most people will be the first game that we play out of the 10. So, just something a little new, something fun, way to change it up. On that note, we are going to
grab our drink,
grab our best friend, and be coming back at you
right after this.
Right after this with Julie's
Top 5.
And we're back with Julie's top 5, so now I'm going to let her take it away.
So first on my list is Gascony's Legacy, which is a cooperative game for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and above, and apparently plays in 60 to 90 minutes.
Now, no guarantees we can do that for every game. It just happens to be the first one out, so give us a little time to just, refresh ourselves on the details.
So, do you remember who publishes this?
Yes, this is Veridine Publishing, which is the publishing arm of Lynn Vander Studios, a good Canadian game company. They've had their struggles. This one was supposed to arrive a long time ago, but it took a while. We finally have it, and hopefully we'll get a chance to play it, but man, we got a lot of campaign games to play.
So why is it on my list? Well, when we decided to do this, we went through the different shelves, and we were pointing out what we haven't played, and I said, what's that? And Jayson said, it's a game based on 3 Musketeers and a little bit of fantasy. And I said, is it cooperative? Because, here I was half expecting that it was a competitive game, and that's why it hadn't made it to the table yet. And he said, no, it's cooperative. I'm like, and why haven't we played this yet?
Lots of stuff came in all at the same time. That's just the way things have been in 2021 and 2022.
Yeah, so as you all know, Jayson runs the tables and decides the schedules around here. So I decided...
I do not decide all the schedules. You still have veto power, so if you want something on the table, it will show up unless we have something that was promised that we need to deliver.
So now he sneaks games in when I'm not home.
You were definitely home when this arrived.
Okay, so in any case, it's 3 Musketeers. It's based on fantasy. It's a cooperative game, and it's got some pretty cool art. I've been looking at this girl on fire here on the side of the box. So it looks pretty interesting, and hopefully it lives up to the art and the promise of the theme. So that's it.
All right, so let's bring out the next one, and this is one that we have another nice story about. So it's Flashpoint Fire Rescue by Indie Boards and Cards.
Apparently it's for 2 to 6 players, plays in 45 minutes, and for ages 10 and above. Yeah. Behind the scenes, that's how you cheat it sometimes. So the funny story...
Well, you didn't get the designer because it's on the front, so we can't cheat. But you guys can see it.
So the funny story for this game is that at some point during the pandemic, we binge watch every single tabletop. Well, I think every single tabletop episode.
There's quite a few we haven't seen, but we focus on the ones that really got our interest. There's a couple like party game ones and things like that we skip, but most of them, I'd say most of them.
So this one seemed interesting. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And well, Jayson went out and found it. This is definitely, since I asked for it and I said this was pretty cool, kind of feels like it should be on my shelf of shame. So honestly, that's why it's there. So Will Wheaton, all your fault.
All right. Now, I don't actually have the box for this one, and Julie can't say the name just because the expansion booklet's inside. So we have played this before, Unearthed, but bought this one for Julie. It is Unearth the Lost Tribe. That is the new expansion for this that we've had for a while.
So I really enjoyed this game, the first one. Played it at a gaming night, and I was like, "Oh, this is fun!" So of course, Jayson jumped on it and bought me the game.
Even though I don't really like this game.
So when he told me we had the sequel for it, or the expansion, I guess, I said, "Yeah, we definitely should play this then." So that's why it's on my top 5.
Yeah, we just haven't had a good, nice gathering to get it back out to the table.
Yeah, this is kind of game that shouldn't be played just the two of us. It needs more players.
Yes, agreed. And so we are now on to number 4.
So number 4, and I feel like we need to hold on to this.
Yes, because this is the older box. Thought about getting the new one, but we had an opportunity to pick up this version to give it a try first at a very good price. So very thankful to the members of the West Island Gaming Group.
So this is for 2 to 10 players, ages 12 and above.
And it is
Formula D, or if you're reading this, it is the French version, Formula D.
I don't know if it's the French version or if it's just because that's what they called it with the original German version. But in any case, we're in Quebec, so French version's a very solid guess.
So again, blame tabletop. We were playing this. I am a huge, I'm not a huge, actually. I have kind of not followed it for the last 2 years. But I really love racing, especially Formula One racing. I went to 20 years of races with my dad, so this seemed like a lot of fun. And I thought, hey, this could be fun playing with my dad as well, who doesn't love board games, but this is looks like a fairly easy game to teach and to play. So I thought it would be fun to play. We just haven't had an opportunity to bring it to the table. It really does look like it would be more fun with more than 2 players. So again, when we have an opportunity to play it with more people, it definitely needs to be played.
This is one of the ones we kind of expected to play over the holidays, but those didn't quite materialize exactly as planned, which meant there was a little less people around, a little less time for games.
Exactly. So that was my number 4. And Jayson, what is the last on my top 5 games on the Wall of Shame?
This is Inuit the Snowfolk, and we actually had a really good plan for this game.
Yeah, so I'm actually...
published by Board and Dice.
This is, again, 2 to 4 players, ages 13 and above, 45 minutes. It is, however, a competitive game.
Yes.
So this is actually this is a Wall of Shame. I'm really, truly embarrassed because this was a birthday present from some good friends who thought I would enjoy it, and we want to play with them. I just want to preface it. We want to play our first game with them. Yeah, okay. So I do want to play it. I am looking forward to playing it. And like Jayson said, we were hoping to play it with them. And the pandemic truly has put, a spoke in our tire.
Yes. And when Julie found out that we were finally getting the gaming table, the original plan was going to be to have this be one of the first games to be played at the table, especially one of the first games that we play with guests. And that just didn't happen.
Yeah. So, this is one of the ones I truly, hang my head in shame that we haven't played yet because I had every intention of playing it a long time ago. But yeah, so hopefully I will get this to the table with the intended other players.
By the end of the year.
And if they're watching, because they do sometimes watch our videos, I am truly sorry that I haven't played this yet. And I really do appreciate this game, and I am looking forward to playing it. And
that's
please,
so pretty.
Please don't judge me on the fact that we haven't played it yet.
All right, so that is Julie's top 5. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with mine. And we're back with my list. So we have Gears of War, the board game. I luckily stumbled upon this in a game shop that happened to have it, even though it was a couple years out of print. It is by Fantasy Flight Games, and it is a cooperative game for 1 to 4 players. And I had to pick this game up. I've played a lot of Gears of War on Xbox 360.
I still hear the chainsaw reverberating off bone, and I'm like, what are you playing?
And I say Gears of War. Spent a lot of hours playing the multiplayer online. Played it with a good buddy of mine. We played way too much of this back in our 20s. So when I saw this game and I had the opportunity to pick it up at a retail price instead of aftermarket prices, it was just something that I had to get. Now I was hoping that we would have found the time to play it, me and him, include Julie if she wanted to play. It's the person that started the channel with me originally when Julie was just doing more stuff in the background, Sammy G. And I just had to have a copy of this board game because this is what we're doing, but we never got around to reviewing it. Part of the reason why I think is because it was out of print and we were just getting started, so it didn't really make much sense to review an out-of-print game, but with where we are now, I'd love to get this covered on the channel, and I want to see how it plays because I hear nothing but good things about it.
Okay, let's move to Jason's number 2 game.
As you can see, she's quite excited to get it off of the list.
Off the table, at least.
Off the table. So here we have probably one of the most recent ones, but just because of my love of the franchise, especially my love of the original movie, Transformers: A Deck Building Game. It's been in the collection for a while, and based on the criteria that we're looking at, it almost didn't make the cut, but it's been knocked off the table already a few times just by other stuff showing up. So I kind of felt that it didn't fit being on the shelf of shame because under normal circumstances, it probably would have been played about a month or 6 weeks ago. And right now, I don't know when it's going to get played. Just the idea of a cooperative deck building game with when you're Transformers, the semi-co-op competitive nature of it, as well as the cooperative nature, it seems just really cool. Just talking to some of our friends, like the Meeple Dungeon, they say that it plays much better just purely co-op. It feels more thematic. However, with the Decepticons coming to the game, where you can either maybe team up Decepticons versus Autobots, or just one person's the Autobots and one person the Decepticons, that's going to add a whole other element to the competitive aspect of the game. So looking forward to it.
Another Renegade Games.
Yes, we have a lot of games by Renegade Game Studios. And then this one, I've already spent a lot of time with, but it has yet to hit the table. So this is Infinity Defiance by Corvus Belli. For 1 to 4 players, plays about 60 minutes. This is a big cooperative campaign game. Yes, campaign games, we have a problem. We have a lot of campaigns. However, we should be able to play campaigns well into our old age at this point, or if we ever win the lottery, well, they'll be gone in a year. As we are able to enjoy them. I'm a big fan of Mass Effect, and the whole premise of this game is sort of, you're playing a suicide mission, going to save the universe. You've got your ship, your crew. You're going to be recruiting more members and going through a cooperative narrative campaign with really awesome miniatures. And what did you think about the minis, Julie? You saw me spending a lot of time putting them together.
I don't even remember which ones they are.
These are the pewter ones with the bases.
Oh, yes. He spent a lot of time with this.
So they looked really cool. First time I've ever experienced pewter miniatures. Actually kind of glad I didn't buy the actual figures for the enemies because that would just been even more time. And this thing is already a beast. But excited. I've always found the idea of the World of Infinity pretty interesting, but it's a war game, so having it available as a cooperative game was just something that I couldn't pass up. So, there you have it.
Jason's games are a lot heavier than mine, by the way. Just like to point that out.
Well, we got some cool stuff, and this is one that also should have been played a long time ago, but due to the shipping issues, it arrived just at the absolute worst possible time. So this is Shadowrun Sprawl Ups, the Legendary Edition. So this is actually a competitive worker placement game that is by Lynn Vander Studios and Catalyst Games. Catalyst Game Labs. But because we got the Kickstarter version, we actually have the fully cooperative mode and some awesome foil maps, and one of them is even Toronto. So there's some really cool stuff about this game, but it just hasn't materialized in terms of having an opportunity to get it to the table. We've had commitments, we've had other things that we wanted to review. Shadowrun's actually done well for the channel in terms of our crossfire review, and Julie surprisingly enjoyed that game a lot. She wasn't sure about it, but Matrix, Cyberpunk, you seem to enjoy Cyberpunk stuff more at least than I thought you did when we started dating.
Or maybe more than I thought I did.
Yes, well, you like Ghost in the Shell as well, which is Cyberpunk, the movie.
Yes. Okay.
So this is one I definitely want to get to the table, and hopefully it won't go another year before we finally get a chance to play it. One of the problems with this, though, is you've got a lot of fancy components, fancy boards. Makes it hard to take it to someone else's game that you really don't want to damage all the cool stuff that you can never get again. So that is Sprawl Ops.
That was your number 4. And I think this one's going to go down.
Yeah, this one's going to be a little tricky to pick up here because it's the big, the bad, the heavy, and absolutely, once we get waves through 2 and 3, the largest and the most expensive game that we'll have in our collection. This is Midara Unintentional Malum by Succubus Publishing. This is a giant cooperative narrative game, and Julie and I were even working on learning it and putting it on the table, and I can't remember why. I think we had a couple review copies that we committed to show up, and we had something happen and we were not getting it set up on the table, and it just kind of slid off. I've been looking forward to playing this. I love the anime style art for the game. I love the idea that this is a big, heavy Japanese RPG inspired game, branching narratives, upgrading your characters. We got the playmats, we got the miniatures, we've got tons of different characters because we also ended up getting all of the resin kits, which actually have extra characters, so just tons of cool stuff. There's 2 more waves of this. The game's supposed to be somewhere once you get through all of it, all these side quests, potentially even up to 300 hours of gameplay. So I love my JRPGs. I don't know if we're ever going to get through all of this. It might just be me playing it by myself a lot to get through all of it, or hopefully at some point starting a campaign game night and just tackling this. But it's just one game I had to own, checked all the boxes, and I really want to get this played. Now, don't want to get played anytime soon. If you think you can do me a favor by voting on the poll, feel free. But one of my goals right now, and one of Julie's goals as well, has been clean up and catch up on our campaigns. Like, we got a whole Tainted Grail campaign that we still got to go back to and finish. We figured out a way to go back to it, but it's been so long that we probably need to restart. Right now, I think we've got Descent we need to finish, Lord of the Rings that we need to finish, Aeon's End Legacy that we need to finish, and then even Descent Journeys in the Dark that probably are like what we want to do. So a vote for a campaign game, thumbs up. We'll get it played, but it might be towards the end of the year at this point.
Yeah, that's saying that, and we're in March. So anyways, There you have it. You have both Jayson and I's top 5 games from our wall of shame, or a wall of...
Shelf of shame.
Or,
it's not a wall of shame. We don't have pictures. They're shelves. Beautiful shelves.
Okay, it's a wall. There's a lot of them. From our shelf of shame, I was, there's more than... Anyways.
Shelves of shame?
Shelves of shame, then. Anyway, so you had our top 5 games from our shelves of shame or shelves of opportunity. So hit the bell, comment, subscribe, like to hit... That's all upside down to get notified when we have some new content for you.
And take a look down below in the video description. You'll find links to all of our social media feeds, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you'd like to see pictures from these games when we get them to the table, make sure to check out those feeds. And then popping up in front of us are going to be links to some of our previously released videos. In front of me will be our most recent release. In front of Julie is going to be the most recent top 10 that we did, which was our top 10.
I can't even remember.
How can you not remember? It's the top 10 games to play in under an hour, or in about an hour.
It was supposed to be in less than an hour.
It's about an hour. Setup, I was including setup. Always been about an hour. Same difference. If you don't include setup, they probably all play in under an hour. So, and on that note, we are now going to...
grab our drink.
Grab our best friend.
You can hide behind the Madara box and have our drink.
And again, we're teenagers again. You don't want to see us drinking this stuff.
And on that note, we're going to
keep playing games.